Hi everyone. I am actually not feeling very well today. I'm all puffy if you can't see. I tried covering it up with makeup, but it just didn't work. So I'm not feeling well. My son's not really feeling well either, so we're kind of like, ugh. I think it's allergies because my throat's burning and my ear feels funny. Anyway, not even the point. I did have my appointment with the genetic doctor and with my regular OB. The appointment went well. She's very optimistic that I'm going to have another baby. I'm sorry, my arm's hurting, so I'm like, the camera's all over the place. So she's very optimistic that I'm going to have another baby, and she went over what was wrong with Faith, with our little girl. She had, if you can see, I don't know if you can see this, she had monosomy 21, which is, let me turn it around. Right here, she was missing a chromosome here on 21. So apparently that's really rare. We got this sheet, and I'll read it. It says, where am I at? Oh, I'm up here. Okay, it says abnormal female karyotype in which all cells exhibit monosomy 21. Autosomal monosomy is extremely rare. It is possible this finding represents unequal segregation of cryptic parental balance rearrangement. Basically, what? Basically, that's saying that it's very rare, and it suggests that maybe my husband or me have a translocation of her chromosome, which we know is not the fact because we had that tested. So we're actually perfectly fine. The doctor was so happy to see those results and know that we are fine, because that just leaves this down to pure bad luck. She said that it's a 1% chance of having a baby with monosomy 21, and that my risk does not go up at all. And if I understood right, my husband got the same thing that I did from it. She said that this happens in cell division. So it could have been a perfectly good sperm, could have been a perfectly good egg, but it just divided wrong. And she said that it could have gone one of two ways. It could have been the way it did now, which was monosomy, or it could have been trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome. So she said that it does not increase my risk of having a baby with Down syndrome or another monosomy. She said my risk is 1%. You need to wash your hands. I think they're clean. You didn't touch anything. He loves to wash his hands, which I'm not complaining about. He's so funny. Anyway, so she said our risk is less than 1%. So that's good. She also said that women with 3 unexplained miscarriages with no other children have a 60 to 70% chance of having another baby. She said we have 3 unexplained, 1 explained. So she said basically you still fall into that statistic. She goes, but you have a child, you have a live child. So your chances of having a baby is closer to 80% or higher. So that made me feel good, but when I think about that, it's like, yeah, I do. I have a good chance. But then it's like miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage after miscarriage. It's just so confusing to me. I talked to my regular OB, and he believes firmly in the non-picky uterus theory. And that is where non-picky uterus people get pregnant very, very easily because they're just willing to take any egg that floats on by. And this is not from what the doctor said. This is from what I read online, so I could be completely wrong, so I don't want to get hate comments. But I've read several places, actually, that say 5 out of 6 blastocysts, if I'm even saying that right. Are they called blastocysts? I don't know. But 5 out of 6 of those actually probably will not make it to implantation or make a baby. So the theory with non-picky uterus is that I would just, the non-picky uterus will just take those eggs, even if they're not supposed to make it, even if they're genetically abnormal. Now, they think that some women's uterus can tell, baby implants for a little while, and no, something's wrong with you, and then you'll never know you're pregnant. That's just a theory. It's not proven, but it does make sense because I get pregnant just looking at my husband. My son is laughing hysterically at the dogs. Anyway, where was I? Oh, he wants us to wait Oh, let me go back. I'm sorry. I'm jumping all over the place here. The genetic doctor, also wanted to look at my uterus to see if I had any uterine abnormalities that could have caused the other 3 miscarriages. So we looked at my uterus, and she was looking for a septum or a bicornuate or some odd shape to my uterus. And my uterus was perfect. She did a 3D, and she said that she like got really into it. She's just like, oh, you have a gorgeous uterus. I'm like, thanks. Anyway, so my uterus is perfect. She did notice a small bleed in there, and I was spotting that day, brown, old blood, I guess. And I have ovulated, and I'll tell you why I know that here in a little bit. But, so I told her that, you know, I should have ovulated however many days ago. And she said, yep, right here on your ovary, it looks like you have 2 collapsed, follicles. And I said, does that mean I released 2 eggs? And she goes, possibly. So she didn't really seem like too excited about it, like I would have been. I don't know. And then she looked at my right ovary and she goes, okay, well, there's fluid behind this one which could indicate ovulation. So I didn't know if she meant ovulation altogether or ovulation from the right, because then that would be 3 eggs, and I don't think that's even possible. I am taking the CoQ10, which is supposed to, in studies, it's made people ovulate extra. You want milk? No. Okay, hold on 1 second. Okay, sorry about that. But what I was saying was, in studies, there's a small correlation to producing more eggs while taking CoQ10. I don't know. I think I did read that it could make you ovulate 2 eggs. I don't know. Anyway, she wasn't 100% convincing, I guess, that I ovulated 2 eggs. She just said possibly. So I don't know. I have 2 collapsed follicles and then fluid behind the other side. I don't know what any of that means. And I did ask what that could mean, and I asked a couple different ways, and I still got the same vague answer. So I don't think she even knew. Anyway, so I went to see my OB yesterday, and it was basically just to see how I felt and to talk about what the genetic doctor had to say. Oh, and the genetic doctor also is running blood tests on me for thyroid, prolactin levels, progesterone, blood clotting disorders. She's doing the anti-phospholipid antibodies, if I even said that right, and the lupus anticoagulant, and then some other ones too on the sheet. There's so many things circled. So we're gonna get tested for all those. I'm hoping I get my results back soon. Let's see. Oh, and sorry, I'm like skipping all over the place here. And she took the baby, my miscarriage from August, and she said that I was really worried because I thought that, what was I saying? Oh, the baby. Okay, so I was really worried that the baby's cells were too damaged and wouldn't grow in a lab to be able to see the chromosomes. However, there's a new test out that they don't need to grow cells. So I'm really hoping that they will be able to see what was wrong with my August miscarriage and maybe give me a little bit more answers. I just hope it got to the right place. She sent me down to the lab, which, oh God, I have to tell you this, sorry. She sent me down to the lab to get blood work done and then to bring my miscarriage down there. And she had the form for my blood work, and then she had a form for my miscarriage. And I brought the miscarriage in a bag. It was like a Gerber cooler bag that you store breast milk in. And I had the Gerber ice packs or whatever ice packs that came with it. And I bring it down there, and it's just a room. The lab is just a room with a whole bunch of people waiting to get their blood drawn, I guess. And I bring it to the lady, and I hand her all the paperwork, and she reads it for a while. Like, she's looking it over. I don't even think she read any of it, because she starts opening up the bag. And I'm looking around like, oh my God, all these people. She's going to pull out that baggie with the bloody baby. And I'm like, oh my God. So I go, that's kind of gross. And she looks at me, she goes, what's gross? I said, what you're gonna find in there. She's like, what is it? And it's on the sheet that she just stared at for like 2 minutes. And I'm like, it's my miscarriage. And I whispered it, and she goes, I'm sorry, what? I'm like, it's my miscarriage. And she says, honey, I can't understand you. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, it's my miscarriage. And I didn't like scream it, but I said it loud enough to where a good half of the room could probably hear. And she felt bad. She was like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, yeah. She goes, well, why do I have it? And it's kind of like, I know it was just a weird situation for them, but it's also a very emotional situation for me. So I felt like I was arguing over something that they should just, I don't know. It was just like, Anyway, so she's like, well, why do I have it? And I'm like, read your freaking sheet. I'm like, because I need to get testing done on the baby. You are a lab. You do testing. I didn't say it meanly like that, but I should have. But she really wasn't mean, so I don't know. Anyway, so she went back to her doctor, and the doctor that was in the lab, and the doctor wouldn't take it. He's like, no, I'm not taking this. I'm like, really? So they said that they called the genetic doctor and that they're going to send it back up to her, and then she'll send it out to someone else. So the bag that I brought the miscarriage in did not have my name or any information on it. She took it in the back, and I haven't seen it since. So I'm hoping it gets to the right place. That was just such a mess. I think I'm going to call the doctor and make sure that it gets to the right place. I'll probably do that after I do this video. Anyway, so I talked to my regular OB yesterday, and like I said, he just wanted to go over how I was feeling and what the genetic doctor had to say, and where we go from there. He said to approach another pregnancy cautiously. He's feeling more like me, kind of like terrified and not knowing. I really like him. He's down to earth, and he doesn't sugarcoat things. And the genetic doctor was very nice, but I feel like she just relied too much on statistics and really was just like, what, you're gonna have another baby, it's no big deal. I'm like, it's looking kind of bleak from my perspective, but okay. Anyway, he told me to wait 2 cycles before we get pregnant again. Oh, one other thing. During the ultrasound, I don't remember if I just said this or not, but during the ultrasound, she said that I had a small bleed in my uterus and that the lining looked inconsistent, which is completely normal after a D&C. So, you know, he might have scraped off one side more than the other, so that's why my lining's not uniform throughout. Okay, now back to what I was saying. He told me to wait 2 cycles before we start trying again, and I was not trying at all this cycle. No, we were not. We did not want to try this cycle because Christmas is coming up, and I did not want to have to deal with possibly the risk of miscarrying during Christmas. But I guess things play out a little differently. I had a lot of miscarriages, as you all know, and I know my body really well, and I can pinpoint when I'm going to ovulate. I know my body. I know how it works, how it functions, and last time I had it down to the day. I said I was going to ovulate August 25th, and I ovulated August 25th. I was also taking my temperature. I'm doing temp charts, and I ovulated already. So I'm 4 DPO. So my husband and I, on I think it was the 15th or the 14th, I took an OPK and it was negative. So, I mean, it was very negative. So I'm like, okay, well, we're probably safe to have sex. Like, I didn't think I was going to ovulate until closer to Thanksgiving. So we had sex. And then the next day I took an OPK, kind of nervous, and it was negative. I'm like, oh, okay, good. So we kind of had sex that day too. And then I started feeling achy, like in my abdomen. And this was probably 5-6 hours later. So I'm like, oh man, I hope something's not wrong, you know. And I have not had sex since August 25th because I did not have sex at all during my pregnancy. So I was really thinking that maybe it was just because it had been so long, or I had something wrong from the D&C, maybe like not tumor, but a fibroid, not fibroid, what am I trying to say? Scar tissue. Maybe scar tissue, or just something's not right. Maybe he nicked something. Like, I'm freaking out. So I go to the bathroom later on that day, and I notice I have a lot of fertile cervical fluid, and I'm like, okay. So I take an OPK for reassurance purposes, and yeah, it was positive. It was a smiley face because I took a digital, and I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Are you kidding me? So then I took a line test just to make sure, because sometimes, you know, I don't trust computers, whatever. So that's basically what the digital thing is. It's a little machine, and they're man-made, and they can be wrong. So I took a line test. Actually, I took 2 of them, and they were both very positive. The control line way darker than the test line. So, not meaning to, we timed intercourse perfect. The day of and the day before. Woohoo! And I know I ovulated that day because I got a temp dip the next morning and then a temp rise pretty dramatically here. I've got it on my phone, I can show you. So I am for DPO. So I did tell my doctor that, and I don't know if he believes that it was an accident. It truly was, trust me. Here's my chart. Oops. See? Very clear temp dip, and then a huge rise. So, yeah. For DPO. Anyway, he told me that since my lining was very inconsistent, and some spots looked beautiful. The lining was nice and thick, and some spots were very thin. He also said that bleed in my uterus could prevent implantation. So he has me on progesterone right now. So I'm going to be taking the progesterone until the day after Thanksgiving. Well, I'm going to keep on. Okay, I have to test the day after Thanksgiving. And if the test is positive, then I keep on taking my progesterone because I'm pregnant. Yes. Oh, I'll go play Caillou again. Okay. So if the test is negative, then I'll stop taking the progesterone. And okay, I have no idea why this camera keeps cutting out on me. It's a brand new camera. Anyway, what I was saying is I have to take the progesterone until I find out I'm either pregnant or not pregnant. If I'm pregnant, I keep taking it. If I'm not pregnant, then I stop taking it, and then I should get my period a few days later. So that's about it. I am going to do a video, obviously, the day after Thanksgiving to see if I'm pregnant or not. So we will see. And the fact that I may have ovulated 2 eggs. I don't know. I completely forgot to ask the doctor about that yesterday because we were talking about my little accident here, and I was really worried about it. So I did make the comment that I feel like I just doomed another pregnancy, and he went, no. Like, he was very concerned that I used the word doomed, and that he's saying nothing is doomed. Every time you're pregnant, you have a new hope. So that's good to hear. But anyway, yeah, I will do a video next week, positive or negative, regardless, I will post it. So, is it oh my God, it's next week. Oh my God, okay, I'm gonna freak out. Okay guys, 4 DPO, so that means I've got, like, what, 8 days? Yeah, 8 days, holy cow. All right, well, I guess I will see you probably in 8 or 9 days when I take a test. All right, thanks.